Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. Today it's sort of a reaction video. Asmongold has inspired me, the lowest quality content it's possible to do. I'm going to obviously add on to my own thoughts as well, but I just saw this popped up in my feed and I thought, hey, this is pretty interesting. This is from Wizard D Gaming. I'm going to link the video on the channel down below, so I encourage you to go and subscribe. But he basically thinks he has predicted something, so let's check it out. Did they know and sneak this by us? Let's see what he has to say. He's got some interesting graphics.
Hi friends, Wizd here. Welcome to a new Editions video.
I'm on the wrong side.
I predicted something a month ago or a little bit more. It happened and we all never noticed it because they have done it a little bit differently. So let's jump into it. I'll tell you what I'm talking about and how we missed it. The first video I want to bring to your attention is this is my own video from 1 month ago. Yeah, it's not visible.
Monsters are scared of him. Oh shit. Whoa. Hero Wars. That looks amazing. Let's go. Interesting. Save for what's coming. So based off of this, pretty interesting. It's making predictions about fusions. These are fusions in the different dates, like Brogni back here, Helica. So, I know where this is going. I can already tell you this is going to be Wixwell, right? Insane clan boss champions. Actually, honestly, again, this is something. It's something I don't focus on my channel is Demon Lord at all, right? Very poor. Actually, well, I guess Newt is pretty good for Demon Lord. Not the place where he super shines, but definitely Brogni, Helicath, and Emic are very much Demon Lord focused. Yeah, I guess Pythion's not really Demon Lord either. Okay, maybe not. I was gonna say he's probably predicting like insane Demon Lord champions, and that Wixwell is that very much so. Let's see what he says.
On the screen, but yeah, I released this video probably beginning of April, and I was predicting that we'll get an unkillable fusion in the next 2 months. So what did I mean?
He was predicting an unkillable fusion in the next 2 months. Okay. So he's not quite right, but he's pretty close. Certainly in terms of Wixwell effectively makes your team unkillable because the shields are so strong for Demon Lord. Okay, okay.
I'll put unkillable here between quotes. So what I was saying is that starting 2022 or end of 2021, we always had, like if you see here, October of 2021 behind me on the screen, we had the Mytha, and then in June we had Helicath, we had Emic in 2020.
Okay, oh yeah, I saw an A and the D, right? So that sort of blocked it in October 2021. It was Demytha. Right, so interesting in terms of the spacing. So in 2021, Brogni in April, Demytha in October. In 2022, Helicath in June. That's sort of it then for Clan Boss. Then we had Emic in August 2023. Yeah, for 2024, Wixwell is sort of the insane Demon Lord champion. Okay, there was 2 in 2020. Yeah, 2 in 2021. So there's actually quite a few back-to-back. So Brogni, Demytha, Helicath, all quite closely clustered together. Then there's over a year gap really to Emic, and then under a year gap to Wixwell. Huh.
23. So now we are in 2024. What I was predicting here is that Plarium every year gives players who've been unlucky, pulling some of those key unkillable champs that will enable them to get top chest, alter nightmare, enable everyone to start collecting those Lego books and shards for the fusions and everything. So every year they give us one of these champs at least, so that if you've been unlucky, you can build your unkillable team.
Yeah, but also not just players who are unlucky, but also just earlier game players, right? New players, right? If you're new and you join the game, what's the fusion that's going to get you the most excited? Well, it's going to be something like Helicath or Wixwell. Well, I guess people really hated Wixwell. Not a good example, I guess. But for Helicath or Brogni, it's like, wow, he does so much for Emic as well. This opens up Clan Boss for me. If you're a new player, that's huge. That's the most value you can often get from a fusion. Yeah.
The part that I didn't count in my equation, so we're always thinking about unkillable as block damage or unkillable, the actual unkillable buff. But we never thought about the Infinity Shield teams because these are crazy hard to set up. They were very specific to Brogni, Crisk, and a bunch of crazy champs there, Cadaver before they nerfed him, so they killed those teams basically. But now we don't need to break the world record. You just need your 1 key, Alter Nightmare on full auto, so you get those rewards.
It's actually a good point. I think even for Hydra as well, like what champion is closest to Vault Keeper Wixwell? It's Crisk, right? That's true for Demon Lord too, right? He brings you the consistent decreased attack. Crisk is a bit better at that. Crisk is like better, right? But similar, they both have the provoke. Crisk is on a 3-turn cooldown, so he needs a lot of speed, right? For Hydra to solo provoke. Wixwell is better at solo provoking, but there's definitely, you have to manual a little bit to make Wixwell work for that. They both protect your team, very much so. They both extend buffs. Very, very similar to Crisk, which makes it all the more funny that people were so convinced that Wixwell is absolutely garbage. I think if you put it in that context, of Wixwell is sort of like a mini Crisk, but pretty similar in terms of what he enables. people saying that he's the worst fusion of all time and all that. It becomes a bit ridiculous.
What they introduced with Wixwell, which is what Hill Hades is showing, yeah, it's on the screen. On the screen here, I think that Boozer also have a video with a comp like that. What you need in this team is basically Wixwell, 2 buff extenders, any 2 buff extenders, even if they are rare. Valerie.
Yeah. I do think it's fair again. Like, this is obviously something that I missed out, was that you know, Infinity Team, like, obviously I don't cover the Demon, I never cover Demon Lord. I just don't have any interest in it. Again, like, I did a poll on my channel recently, and 10% of my viewers have been playing for less than a year. And I mean, let's say out of those, probably half of them don't really need a clan boss champion, right? It's a really small proportion of my viewers that actually care about Demon Lord teams. And for me, I personally have zero interest. Like, well, I've been running the same team forever. It's just not something interesting. They might do in the future. They could do like a Demon Lord Clash or something. That might be interesting. I have been thinking about that. I think for them to do Demon Lord Clash, they would have to put in extra modifiers to make it something engaging. Be like, it's not always like, maybe every month they run like a week of Demon Lord Clash, but it'd be like faction specific, or I don't know, magic affinity only or something. Right? They'd have to do something to mix it up, because otherwise Demon Lord Clash would probably be really boring as well. At least with Hydra Clash, you know, you're constantly changing up your teams, because there's, at the moment, such crazy power creep with Hydra, and teams are getting so much better so quickly. Obviously, if you've got Trunda, you just do Trunda stuff, but even then, there's power creep with other options for Trunda teams, etc. Blah, blah. Anyway, you get the point. I think Hydra Clash ends up being more dynamic with the 3 teams, etc. Demon Lord Clash would need something extra. But yeah, it's not something I'm super interested in. I mean, I totally did not think of, obviously, Infinity Shields for Hydra. That is a thing now that works, with the shields getting stolen in Yannicka, or now there's another new version where you put in Aislinn, right? So Aislinn, he can strip off all your shields, but his damage is capped. So he's the faction unity guy, right? So it strips them all off, but he can't hit that hard, right? So he doesn't hit that hard, unlike Yannicka, with her type of version of it. But because he heals all allies by the total value of the shields on all allies, you put him in with Ironclad, who's a rare. This is hilarious, right? You put him in with Ironclad, and Ironclad attacks all enemies proportional to any surplus heal. So if everyone's full health, he'll nuke them for this massive shield. It's quite hilarious. So I you know, the developers were asking, when we were chatting to them, they were talking about, by the way, is there a purpose of having these? Shields actually don't scale infinitely. I think they cap at like 320 million. So across your Hydra team, you could have 6 of those shields, which could then be blown up by Aislinn for Ironclad to hit really hard, or 320 million shield could be stolen by Mischief, and he could spread it around, and Yannicka could blow it up. So the damage on those is capped. It's not infinite for Hydra, but it's kind of like way higher than you could possibly get with anything else. I think it's pretty likely, because the devs were saying, is there a point in having shields be quote unquote infinite? I think they're going to put a cap on shields. I think it's pretty likely at this point, considering all the crazy stuff that's happening. But yeah, I think it'd still be very strong. Wixwell will still give you very easily a very powerful Demon Lord key, right? Even if the shield is capped, ultimately, it's still a massive... likely it would still be a massive shield, and he's still bringing you increased defense, a good shield, decreased defense. The provoke is useless for Demon Lord, but
that
yeah.
Hellborn probably will work. So the speed champ here, whether it's in High Katoon or Apothecary, they're just helping the team go fast, so that the speed requirement is even lower for the team. And then just a damage dealer, Frozen Banshee, Fane, whoever you have that can do damage over time to the clan boss.
I mean, it's a pretty crazy team, isn't it? Like, in terms of budget, it's probably the most budget of all of them for beating team. Like, it's probably even more budget than the Unkillable. Like, Wixwell is absolutely nuts for this. And like I said, even without the crazy growing, like, he's even just super solid, right? Even without that, even if the shields aren't massive, it's just the core survivability he brings. Yeah, and this is why I was saying Wixwell is such a good fusion to go for. And it's hard to say that when everyone else is shouting at you that he sucks. Again, bearing in mind, look back on the videos in the comment. Like, look at Tyraku. Like, if you look at Tyraku, the comments on his channel in particular, that genuinely made me angry. And that's what prompted my videos as well, to an extent. Tyraku did a video saying he thought Wixwell sucked. Then he did a second video being like, you know what? I've actually tested him out, and he's way better than I think. And I looked at the comments on that video, and it was just all like, you are a sellout. How much are you being paid? Like, why are you lying? Why are you trying to screw the community over like this? You horrible human being. And I was like, that made, like, I was genuinely angry for like 2 or 3 days after reading those comments. I was so pissed off, man. I was like, respect for the community went from pretty high to like none. Like, genuinely, if Raid had asked me at that point, no, hey, Nub, we're doing the Raid Community Awards. Do you want to host it? I'm like, hell no. I don't want to. I will not with a straight face say I like the community. You know, because at that point in time, I really, the Wixwell response to the community, I really did not like the community for like a week. For like a week, I was very negative, which is a problem. But I got over it.
If you went for Wixwell, this is an Infinity Shield team. There's a couple of videos about it on Hellhades.
Rant over.
Also on Boozer as well. I think he released one video about it. And the community is still tuning this to be absolutely safe, full auto, doesn't fail, quick battle, and all of that stuff. But this is sort of our unkillable champ here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a cool team. It's a little bit of a bummer that this wasn't, I guess, discovered at the start of the fusion. Although I think it was still, like I said, obvious enough that Wixwell was really, really good. The bummer this wasn't discovered at the start, so everyone could get in on it. There's also an element I feel I'm getting angry about the community again of digging their own grave here. Let's not get into it. Let's just go watch the video.
We don't need Brock. You don't need Crisk. You don't need any other.
Don't insult your viewers, Nub. Don't insult your viewers. Don't do it.
Extending the shields by himself, and with the intercept buff, he's protecting your stun target, so the whole team can keep going forever. Basically, till the turn limit.
That's true.
The videos, and go check these videos. Of course, they go up to the turn limit, and with that budget, gear, and champs, achieve over 100 million Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare. So this is your way of doing unkillable. You don't need like technically unkillable or block damage to do this kind. What you need is that 1 key Ultra Nightmare. This is accessible for everyone now who has Wixwell once they tune those teams and they release it solidly there. So that's what I was basically predicting in the video. Luckily, though, we didn't recognize it when Wixwell was released as an unkillable or that clan boss enabler champion. Everyone was saying you should go with Wixwell and his kit is great, including me. So hopefully you didn't miss him if you have the resources. Our once per year chance guaranteed Plarium gave us to have those 1 key or 2 key Ultra Nightmare.
Yeah, I genuinely feel bad for anyone that is vulnerable to comment section bandwagoning. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. You got screwed so hard if you skip, especially again an early game player. This would have unlocked Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss for. Like, you got so screwed by the comment section. Yep. Feels bad. Yeah, it's a good prediction. Yeah, it's true. In terms of, though, that they do release, I suppose, like a really basically unlocks Demon Lord. Yeah, Wixwell's probably the one for 2024. I guess a corollary prediction would be that there probably won't be another one for another year. There might be, like we had Brogni and Demitha, and then Helicath fairly close together within a few months of each other. You might have another one, especially if they look at the data and they see that a lot of people did skip Wixwell. I don't know how that actually went in the end, but if that is true, maybe they will do another clan boss focused champion. Maybe make it more obvious, etc. going forwards. And interesting, again, Wixwell was open to voting. So again, I am sure that if Wixwell had been voted for a different way, they would have made another fusion. Or I'm sure they've got multiple champions in the design pipeline, probably already done. They would have made one of those good for clan boss and would have put out a fusion for that. I think that would have basically happened. And I'll make a couple of predictions as well in terms of, I think, fairly obvious, the stuff that Wixwell wasn't voted for. I think we'll probably see champions similar to that probably coming as well.
And get those rewards if you're not lucky with them yet. We missed realizing it, but hopefully you didn't miss a champ. So we got what I've predicted. We just didn't realize it. My next prediction is that what's coming in the next 2-3 fusions. They gave us the unkillable or the clan boss enabler champ. The other thing that they gave us per year, Brogni or Newt, they gave us a champ, a strong one to enable you to do PvE content. So that's coming in the next 2 months. They also usually give us once per year a champ that's OP for arena, like UDK or Armans. We just had Armans fusion a couple of months ago. So yeah, that's what's coming. If you want.
That's interesting. So 2 predictions there. In fact, let me throw up the list of fusions. So prediction number 1 was something we've already had, which is OP champion for arena. This actually isn't quite updated. We're missing Aestrid and on Hell Hades. I must ping the guys to update this. Aestrid from April, and then obviously Wixwell for May. So Aestrid is fantastic for Hydra, quite a Hydra-focused champion. Arman's obviously OP for Arena. So that's prediction 1, is you'd have an OP Arena champion. You gave UDK as another example. Now, UDK wasn't a fusion. In terms of like OP Arena champions, if we look at 2023, Aithion is quite good for Arena, but I'd say he's more equivalent, isn't he, to Ancora than Arman's. None of the others are super OP. Like, I mean, Timit's okay for arena. Be the main one. Like, Emic is good for arena. You've got arena focused damage, but yeah, I don't. Let me see. Again, Nishak from 2022. Nishak's good for arena. Uko's very strong. Actually, that was on his list, wasn't it? Yeah, he's got Mighty Uko. Mighty Uko was quite. Yeah, I wouldn't say OP. Well, actually, Mighty Uko, maybe at the time, certainly with the how stun set and provoke set used to work, was probably at the time, actually. To be fair, at the time, Mighty Uko probably was pretty OP for arena. Helicath actually pretty strong for arena. So yeah, you do get like sort of OP arena champions pretty commonly. So I think they're actually solid prediction base. Like really strong arena champion. It's a fairly regular fusion design. Really strong clan boss Demon Lord champion is a very common design. In fact, if we look at, let's say, really good Hydra champion, I'd say Wixwell and certainly Aestrid. Aestrid for sure, really good Hydra. Do we have that last year? I mean, Bambus is quite a good Hydra champion, similar. Island's not bad. Emic actually ended up being pretty good for it. Same as Newt. Actually, lots of them are good for Hydra. Razzlevarg is probably the most Hydra specialist. If we look the previous year, Hydra is quite new. Bivald, I think, was designed to be Hydra's. That's about it. Bivald with his provoke and like healing and decent damage. Drang, quite solid for Hydra. Actually, Lanathril, funny enough, is not bad. Moranix is definitely Hydra, driven with the AoE Hex and decreased defense. So yeah, they're not as striking as like specific Hydra. I think more so. I think like with Bambus and I think Aestrid is where it's become more quite strong Hydra champion focus. Obviously, Aestrid's decent for arena. Bambus is good for Dragon Hard. But yeah, that's sort of more the focus. So he was also predicting, let me just go back on that.
A champ that's OP for arena, like UDK or Mons. We just had a Mons fusion a couple of months ago. So yeah, that's what's coming.
Wait, no.
They gave us a champ, a strong one to enable you to do PvE content. So that's coming in the next 2 months.
Strong champion for enabling PvE content. So Newt's obviously
was a champ, a strong one to enable you to do PvE content. So that's fusions. They gave us the unkillable or the clan boss enabler champ. The other thing that they gave us per year, Brogni or Newt, they gave us a champ, a strong one to enable you to do PvE content. So that's coming in the next 2 months.
So Brogni or Newt. Yeah, again, Brogni's sort of been power crap, but I mean, at the time, Brogni was massive for getting through like all of Doom Tower. I mean, this back in 2021, right? That's like 3 years ago. More for Brogni. Brogni was huge for Doom Tower, for all dungeons, for everything. Brogni was insane. Again, he's kind of just sits in my vault these days, but you know, at the time he was absolutely massive. Newt, it's very recent, actually almost a year since Newt. That's crazy to think, but Newt is obviously just so strong for almost every boss in the game. The guy is crazy. So we should expect something like that. I think that's a good prediction as well. Something crazy like so far we had Zinogre Blademaster. So these are sort of how generally useful they are, is how they're rated on hellhades.com, right? So she's, you know, particularly good for Fire Knight, and she's just generally decent, but maybe doesn't shine anywhere so much. Fire Knight probably wear mostly. White Queen Ancora, she's sort of, I'd say she's quite equivalent to Pythion, like cleansing, reviving, keeping you alive. She's quite similar, and she was the February fusion, which is always a partner fusion. Again, that's common. Like, let me see, back in, we had Oella plus Ultin of the Shell, one of the worst couples ever, but it's there. And the previous year, we had Karato with Yumiko, again, a terrible couple. Yumiko's insane, but the couple pairing, not so strong. This year was by far the strongest one, Ancora plus Narses. That's a super strong pairing. Use them all the time. But she was just a good general. Again, Pythion is quite general. Heal you, protect you, cleanse you, revive. Just generally strong. Very mostly arena would be probably the area they shine most. Arman's just, they have very strong fusions this year. Like, I'd say Zinogre is probably the worst one, but she is genuinely good for Fire Knight. Ancora is brilliant for arena and just generally supporting. Arman's is one of the most broken arena champs in the game. Aestrid is fantastic for Hydra. Wixwell is fantastic for both of the clan bosses and just in general. So the fusions this year have been very strong. So that's another big thing. What would we I'll actually add on another prediction as well. So prediction number 1 from Wizard as well. If we call him Wizard, probably call him Wizard. That'd be the best thing to call from Wizard. And I do agree. Expect something that's just generally really strong for PvE in general, right? Just general, helps you in just kill bosses quickly. that's something that we don't massively have. Zinogre's the closest thing, but something stronger. Probably a few more filler fusion. Like, I don't know. The fusions have been kind of nonstop insane this year so far. Like, they've been really good. Where we had some, I'd say some quite weaker ones here. Like, there's no question that Island, Bambus, Timid, and Ugir, even Blizzar, they all have a niche place in the game, but you might not use them that much, really. Like they're more the 3.5s. Like they've got one or two areas where they can be good, but a lot of people might not even use these. We haven't seen that quite so much recently. I think the other big prediction I would have that's pretty common and we haven't had is just a straightforward nuker, right? I guess Razelvarg would fit into that niche of like boss killer. He's sort of a Hydra AoE damage, but like arena focused damage dealer. If we look at 2023, Supreme Elhain stands out as like, I'm here to do damage in arena, even Jetney as well. So there's a couple of arena damage champions. I think if we look back at 2022, it's probably something similar. So 2022, Karato is really arena damage dealer. Gaius to an extent is arena damage. Helikath arguably, definitely Negorio is like, I'm here to kill arena. Nishak to a certain extent, but I mean clearly enough, I think Negorio quite so, and definitely Karato are like, we are here to nuke arena. We go back even to the previous year, Vlad to an extent to nuke arena, Erndig definitely, Astralon, like nukers are pretty common. They're often fairly unpopular as well, right? I'd say the nukers tend to be not really beloved, like Karato, and not really, Negorio, etc. They're the more recent ones. Supreme Elhain, recently Jetney, right? They're not very well loved, but that's a type of fusion I think we could expect soon-ish. Certainly sometime this year, I would expect an arena damage dealer. I will say, and I'll predict this, I think that this is the year we could actually see a genuinely really good one. There's also usually a Void Fusion every year, or maybe even two. Like we had Emic. We haven't had a Void Fusion yet this year, but in 2023, we had Emic in August, September. Yeah, mostly September. We even had Supreme Elhain in March. We had two. The previous year, I think it was... Oh, did we not have any? Ooh, did we not in 2022? Maybe not. Did we not? Checking. No, we had none in 2022. That's surprising. We had Vlad then obviously in 2021. And I think in 2020, maybe there was none in 2020. There was Torment obviously in 2019 actually, so ages ago. But I think a Void Fusion could definitely come. I think an arena damage dealer. And like I said, I think with Mythicals and just how generally powerful the arena is getting these days, right? The sort of insane power creep in arena. Let's take a quick look. We might actually get a pretty good fusion legendary, right? Sorry, this is my arena defense. We're winning some of them. You boys. Hey, there we go. The two boys. The monkey and the blade master. Taking some wins. Nice. We took Unlucky down. We beat Unlucky with an Armans. And he beat us by taking the Armans out. What? You got rid of Armans to win. Things you see. But if we look at the no players in platinum, if we look at the power creep in arena, like it's kind of nuts at the moment with the mythicals, with Narcies, with Armans and all of that. Like arena is kind of insane, right? Isn't it? Arena is kind of nuts right now. So they could actually genuinely give us a really powerful arena fusion. And like, I would still expect it not to be top tier. Like, I would not expect the fusion to be as good as, let's say, these regular nukers. Like Narcies and Taras are Void, so you'd expect them to be better. But, like, even Harima is, let's say, the strongest non-mythical, non-void nuker in here. You would expect the fusion would obviously not be as good as that, which is also part of why people don't get too hyped about it. Wukong. Like, you could have, like, a Wukong or Trunda, for, like, in arena terms, level fusion, you could for damage dealer. I think Harima would be on another level. It wouldn't be that strong, but you could have a solid arena fusion, like a really, really good nuker for arena, and it would still be really outclassed by the top end. There, which is probably something they probably don't want to do a fusion that's the best. That would be a bit silly in terms of them selling shards and whatnot. But like you could have like a Helikath, Trunda, Arena Trunda, that is, level fusion, Wukong even. Yeah, that could happen. Sorry, my predictions as well. So there you go, guys. A bunch of predictions. Let me know what you think. What are you expecting from the fusions? I think it does make a lot of sense that they try to create a variety of fusions that cater to the different areas of the game. I think that makes sense. Wixwell looks to have ended up being, thanks to community voting, the clan boss option, basically. I do think, like I said, to reiterate, I think if the community had voted differently, I agree with Wizard. I think they would have done a clan boss champion anyway. So if we had not voted for Wixwell like this, they probably would have done another fusion this year that was very much focused on clan boss. They still might. And I think, for example, seeing as Wixwell was not voted as the arena nuker because he had like a ignore stone skin option, I would expect we're going to see an arena nuke fusion at some point this year as well. And hopefully they'll be pretty good and we'll do some fun things. We'll see. But yeah, guys, there you go. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Big shout outs to, again, Wizard the Gaming. He's a smaller channel. I really encourage you to go check him out. Apparently he's pretty big brain. Let's put it like that. The guy is making some good predictions. Let's see what else he's got to say. So there you go. Big shout out to him. It was a great video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what type of fusion you would be most excited for this year. And I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.